Hey guys, we're going to be changing out this brake caliper. This is a front brake caliper, 2011 Honda Odyssey. Let's get started. First thing we got to do, get it up in the air, take the wheel off. We got 5 22mm wheel nuts, so all right, first thing we do, I just cleaned up all the rust on this banjo bolt that holds the line to the caliper, and then also the caliper bolts and the anchor bolts. Now, the banjo bolts are 14 mil, so are these caliper bracket bolts. And then the two big ones that actually hold the anchor on are gonna be 19 mil. So let's just bust this thing off. It's gonna puke oil, or brake fluid rather. And just take this thing off. I'm gonna use a valve stem to just stick that in there to keep it from losing all the fluid. And we'll tuck that up out of the way. And then basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab a 19mm socket. I'm gonna buzz those two out. We're just gonna take the whole assembly right off. Okay, now we're going to take this brake caliper off of the holder. And we want to use these pads, so we're going to take these out and transfer them over to our new caliper. We actually, we're using this A Premium loaded brake caliper, and it basically just comes with the holder, the clips, and new copper washers for the banjo bolt. So let's get these pads out, we're going to clean them up, and then we'll put them into our new caliper. Okay, we're gonna have to just take this apart. Luckily, they're all the same size, they're 14s. And then we're just gonna take our new clips. And we also got washers too. We're gonna save those for just in a couple minutes. But yeah, you just clip these on. They're the same top and bottom, so it doesn't matter. But they just go in like that. And then we're gonna take our pads. You see me just a minute ago cleaning up around these edges. So these three sides, very important. That's where they sit in there. And if they're rusty, they're gonna be tight and not be able to move very well. So once we get that cleaned up, we just use some of this anti-seize. Put that on there, just gonna keep the rust from coming back. I usually use copper anti-seize, but I don't have any at this time, so we're using the Silver Surfer stuff. So you can see here, the one with the squealer tab goes on the inside where the caliper pistons are, and then the one without the squealer tab goes on the outside. So we just line these things up and get them started in there, and they're just gonna basically sit in there until we can get our brake caliper on. We could do these on the vehicle as well. I'm just gonna try to do this as a preloaded assembly and then slide everything on. We kind of just want it like that. We're gonna take this and put this on. Get our bolts started. Let's go put this onto the car. Okay, so now we're ready to put this on. By the way, there is a left and a right brake caliper. You want the bleeder screw to be at the highest point. And then we just basically slide that on like so. And get our fastener and get that started. Then we'll run those down. Now we're gonna torque them. All right guys, we got the banjo bolt. I've cleaned it up and you can see we're gonna use the new copper washers. So you put one on and then we grab our brake line, pull this. I just have a valve stem that's in there so that it wouldn't leak all over the place. And then we just basically make sure there's no chunks of rust or anything on there. Slide that in. Take our other copper gasket, put that on so that it looks like that. And then we're just gonna start that by hand. And we'll run that down. That actually gets torqued down to 26 foot-pounds. And once we get that torqued down, then we're gonna torque these ones down to 37. And the big 19 mil bolts for the bracket itself, 101 foot-pounds. Beauty. All right, let's get these bled. Okay, we're gonna use this vacuum bleeder. You don't need one of these things, but this just speeds up the process. Basically, we're just pulling a vacuum to pull the brake fluid through. There you go, you can see that it's starting to come out now. And then I'm just gonna let this thing sort of drip here. The bleeder screw itself is a 10 millimeter, or it should be anyways. And then, yeah, we need to get all the air out of the system. So I'm gonna let it just gravity bleed for a little bit, and then probably what I'll do is close the bleeder screws on all the brake calipers, pump up the brake pedal, then I'll come back out and crack the bleeder screw open for like 10 seconds and then close it to let some air out if there's air trapped in the caliper. I'll do that to all of the calipers, or in this case, we're just doing the front ones. So I'll just do it to the front ones. And then, yeah, we'll repeat that process a couple times. And by then, all the air should be out, so. Okay, here's the brake fluid reservoir. This system's gonna use .3 or .4. You can use either or. And then we just wanna make sure that the reservoir is topped up as we're doing the bleeding procedure. You do not want the reservoir to go empty, otherwise you're going to introduce air into the whole brake system and you're gonna have to bleed all four wheels, and it's just a real pain. So make sure that that's topped up as you're bleeding it. So I'm just gonna grab some fluid, we'll make sure it's topped up, and then what I'm gonna do is basically pump the brake pedal a bunch of times, like I say, and I'll come back, crack the bleeder screw, and then tighten it back up, and we'll just repeat that process a few times. Flip it up. Hold it down. One more time, pump it up. And hold it down. Okay, that should be good. I think that whole section actually comes off. Oh no, it doesn't. All right guys, that's pretty much it. We got everything bled. Last thing I have to do is just clean the brake caliper off, make sure there's no brake fluid on anything. And that's good just to make sure that if you did have a leak, you would notice. And also, you don't want brake fluid all over stuff because it just ruins paint and contaminates things and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments and give the video a thumbs up if it helped. Make sure that you subscribe. It helps us out more than you know. Anyhow, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.